Roger, go for deploy.
Alrighty, welcome back to Adventure Fit Radio, where this week we will hear part 2 from Joe Guy. Now, Joe Guy is a nutritionist. She's a nutritionist, and by night time she's
not a nutritionist, bro.
Oh, isn't she?
She's a dietitian for the 10th time.
Why do I keep saying that? Why do I keep saying that?
There's a difference.
Yeah, there is a
And I think the difference is dietitians are a little bit higher on the pecking order.
Yeah, so why do I keep saying nutritionist?
You're pretty much like you're going up to a Canadian and going like, oh, whereabouts in America do you live? Just joking, American listeners.
So Joe is a person who eats well. That's like what it's like saying.
I reckon we just lost all of our American listeners after I dissed him.
Yeah, you kind of did, didn't you?
Canadian-American thing.
That's right. Oh, I apologise publicly to Joe. Joe is a dietitian. And who specialises in nutrition. Oh, it's classic. Now, this is part 2, guys. I believe this is just after the Good About the Science.
Don't know, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't know.
Anyway, it got good. It got weird. It got kooky. But what did you like most about the show? I like the gut health part.
Yeah, the gut health is good. Not something that I really know too much about. But is the gut health going to be in this show or is it in the last show?
I mean, it could have been in the last show, but in general, yeah.
I just had a good chat. You know, you learn a lot about diet when you sit down with somebody like Joe, because we don't really, we think we know a lot, but we don't really know all that much. And it's a pretty important part of our lives. You know, man, you're always trying to use diet to do something in our lives, like be more alert and smarter, or we're trying to put on weight for weightlifting, or we're trying to get our dicks to grow, or whatever. There's a number. What? There's a bunch of different things, and you always think that you know everything, but you don't really know anything. So.
Well, I do.
And I don't mean you in particular. I mean us.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
But the general public. So I think there's a lot to learn from this show, and it was just a super fun conversation. So I liked it.
I liked it a lot. Guys, we are sponsored by True Pride, which is a wealth creation service who work with ambitious individuals. And that's not to say that they don't work with unambitious individuals. It just means that if you are ambitious, you know, you're more likely inclined to be working with True Pride. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and if you're an individual, it means that you're a person, like you're a human being.
You're a physical entity.
Yeah, like it's not like ambitious. Like you can't be an ambitious brick and work with True Pride.
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. And look, I mean, a wealth creation.
You can try. You can pay still. You
probably could
still pay.
You could definitely pay. Yeah.
I don't know if it falls under the guidelines of an individual.
Probably doesn't work.
You know. I could ask Craig.
You could be an unambitious brick.
Yeah.
Look. We'll give you a call. We'll see what it's like. Guys, head to www.truepride.com.au/ADVF to get the initial joining fee of $297 million. Sorry, just $297 waived when you call via their website. We are also sponsored to you.
Sponsored by,
brought to you by Carve. Now, not carve in a sense that you want to carve something out of a wall to, create a pretty picture or anything. Carve in a sense that that's the name of the company, which specialises...
They specialise in the lower part of your leg.
The lower part of your leg, exactly right.
It's just above the... it's also known as the gastrocnemius.
Yes, or the soleus.
Or the soleus, just above your that stringy part of the back of your heel.
Yep.
But below your knee.
Essentially below the knee, yeah. And a little bit above the ankle.
Yeah, and what do calves specialise in?
Well, calves specialise in anything digital, in a sense that digital meaning, so digital in a sense that you're not natural, so you're not organic. So you wouldn't define a tree as digital. I mean, you'd probably define...
Would a brick be digital?
It depends on the brick. Definitely depends on the brick. But they specialise in anything digital, from building apps, designing a logo, stimulating and automating. Now, not in a sense of stimulating in from a sexual perspective. Like,
they can. They could definitely
stimulate you sexually.
They can't do it in person because they're based in the Philippines. But
if you go to the Philippines, you could probably be sexually stimulated.
Yeah. It's if you want to hire them as a part-time, then I mean, I'm sure. Is this bad?
No, I think it's good. We're just reiterating what they can and can't do.
Have we just lost our sponsorship with Carve?
I think we may have.
Yeah, we've. But truly though, guys, if you go over there, you can definitely
get sexually stimulated
quickly.
A little sneaky. Depending on the 10 hours of free. I mean, 10 hours free in a sense that you will get free work on the project. But I mean, if you want to ask for things on the side, I'm sure you could.
And it's not going to take 10 hours. Let's be honest. I mean,
for some it will.
If you're sexually frustrated and you have to fly to the Philippines and employ someone for a little bit of goodish, then you're probably only going to last about 4 minutes of those 10 hours.
Well, I mean, 4 minutes if you're being generous.
And the other 9 hours or 56 minutes can be working on upscaling your business.
Which is, I would say, very much worth it. And if you want to do that, guys, you can head to www.carve.ph/ADVF to get that initial 10 hours.
Alrighty. And also, are we in the intro here?
Here we are. Yes, we are.
I've forgotten even where we're at. And head to www.adventurefittravel.com. Check out everything we got going on there. We got Bali coming up with Carl Paoli, Mexico with Jared Fleming. We've got Kokoda Trek coming up on Anzac Day for all you Aussies and Kiwis out there that really want to do the pilgrimage of Kokoda. And use radio as your code to get 10% off on any and all of our trips. Here's the show.
But not a show in a sense that, you're not going to show people, essentially what the podcast is. It's a show is like people can listen to the show.
Yes. And hear that show is. Sorry, guys. Cool. Good stuff, Tommy.
So good.
So, Joe, I want to talk about the ketogenic diet.
Yeah.
Have you played around with it yourself personally?
Not strictly ketogenic. So I haven't been in ketosis before myself. But definitely I've done like a higher carb, lower carb approach. And that works quite well for me. So ketogenic diet, have you tried it before or?
Nope.
No?
Nope. About to in the next week. We're going to try.
Oh, really?
We're going to go for it. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess for people that don't know what the ketogenic diet is, it's a very high fat, very low carb diet. So you're looking at about 75% fat, can go up to 90% fat, and only 5% from carbohydrates. So it's extremely low carb. What that actually does is it forces your body into a state of ketosis where you only use fatty acids for a fuel, but it also means that the liver will convert fatty acids into ketones because your brain will predominantly use glucose as a fuel source, but in the absence of glucose, when you have very minimal carbohydrates, your brain can use ketones as a fuel source. So the liver will produce those ketones and that's what your brain uses. Super, super beneficial for certain groups of people. So a lot of studies have shown that it's really great for people with type 2 diabetes. Certainly very overweight people. It can be really effective to drop weight quite quickly. And also really effective in people, particularly children that have seizures or epilepsy. So there's some great research around ketogenic diets for those types of people.
All right.
But again, it's really going to depend on the person because it can have some side effects as well, because it is quite extreme. So I think for a lot of people, you have to know the rules before you can start breaking them. So if you, I'm sure you have a very good understanding of your body, nutrition, been training and eating well for years, then absolutely give it a trial, see how you feel on it. But just pay attention to your body and what it's telling you, because in some groups it's not going to be the best. So when you have very low carb, it can actually interfere with thyroid function. So when we eat carbohydrates, they get broken down into glucose and we get the release of the hormone insulin. And with our thyroid, so your thyroid controls metabolism and hormones and a whole host of things, we need insulin to convert the inactive thyroid hormone 4 into the active form, which is TH3. So if you don't have enough insulin, that process is going to be impaired. So some people, not everyone, but some people will have some thyroid issues. It can also influence your gut health. So generally on a ketogenic diet, you're cutting out a lot of those fibrous foods. So as I mentioned before, your gut bacteria is all the way down in your low intestine. And so we need to eat foods, so things that contain resistant starch that are going to get all the way down so we can feed those good guys. So that's things like brown rice and potatoes and unripe bananas and those types of foods. Generally, they're not really suitable for a ketogenic diet. So some people can experience or develop some gut issues as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So the potential benefits are like you people say they're really focused, or is that the stuff?
Mental acuity, yeah.
Yeah,
acuity,
definitely.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Is that only sustainable for a short period of time?
Not necessarily. Again, it just depends on the person. So some people do absolutely fantastically on a ketogenic diet and they feel amazing. They're really alert. They lose a lot of weight, so they've got a really good body composition, or their blood markers are great. Whereas another person might do it for 4 weeks and just fall in an absolute heap and feel like complete rubbish. I think if you do it, it's a good idea to get your bloods done as well, just to keep track of it, because some people are hyper responders to fat and cholesterol. So some people's markers can really just shoot up, but that's not everyone. So just, track it, get your blood tests and do it that way. So there's definitely some benefits, but I think that you just have to be smart about it and just see how you go.
So with the so if I was to do it, which I'm going to give it a crack.
Cool.
So obviously you got to take in lots and lots of fats, lots and lots of protein. That's easy enough. So what would you do if you're trying to get all your micronutrients in? Like, what would you eat in carbohydrates? Like your green. Like what are the best carbs to get in during the day? Albeit you can only have X amount.
Yeah.
What's the best, most healthiest way to be ketogenic diet?
Well, you nailed it. It's just load up on all your green leafies, all your non-starchy veggies, just getting as much of those in as you can. I'd be taking a greens powder as well, a green supplement just for extra micronutrients. But yeah, just aiming to get all your carbs from those non-starchy veg.
Cool. Yeah, it's interesting because I always hear the people that have been on it that I hear, they do drop a lot of weight, like tons and tons of weight. But do you have obviously... Well, I don't know. Doesn't seem like you've recommended this to anyone that for weight loss. Is that because it's just so hard to maintain?
Yeah.
Like, that's the reason I haven't started it.
Exactly.
I'm like, oh, fuck, it can't be fucked.
Exactly.
That's
exactly the reason. It's really hard to maintain and it's just too difficult for people.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't recommend it. Generally, for my line of work, extremes aren't good.
Yeah, too easy to fall off the wagon.
Yeah, they're not good for most people. The other difficult thing about a ketogenic diet is you mentioned lots of protein. You kind of can't have lots of protein as well. You have to be careful with the amount of protein you have.
Yeah, gotcha.
Because protein can be converted into glucose via gluconeogenesis.
Of course.
And so that...
Absolutely. Well, that's obvious.
Yeah.
Didn't need to say that.
I've been neogening my glucose for years.
Yeah, so you can't go crazy on protein either, which makes it quite difficult. And then you're just reliant on those. You probably just be eating the same types of fats.
Fats are so limited too.
Yeah, they are.
That's why.
Yeah.
Well, I'm out of lactose and nuts, so I can literally eat an avocado and that's about it.
Oh, really? Yeah.
It's good fun.
Coconut?
I can eat coconut.
You can eat coconut? Yeah. But no,
But
it would be pretty hard for you. So
Yeah, I suck.
Yeah.
To any listeners that don't know what the ketogenic diet is, it's also referred to as, well, the bulletproof diet is like a ketogenic diet with a little bit more carbs, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of different variations. So you can do a cyclic ketogenic diet with carb refeeds.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff. So
yeah, cool.
So have you got all your stuff organised of what you're going to do?
Me? No, we haven't.
Right.
I can see some brain octane up there.
I got brain octane over there. I was having that for a little while. I didn't really feel like...
It was working. That's because you're hammering donuts every day.
No, but it wasn't to be ketogenic. That's just supposed to make you like...
Yeah, but doesn't sugar make you super flat?
1,000,000% smarter. More switched on. I'm like, I feel dumb as fuck.
Some of us
recording
this
this podcast half the
triangle.
time. Yeah. I'm just like, glug, 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 glug. Yeah, right, guys, I'll tell you about climate change. Bring it in. Yeah, cool. So what's been some of your greatest accomplishments in, or like most rewarding things that have happened to you in your line of work? I'm sure there's been plenty.
Yeah, well, I'd hope to think that I help most people in, if it's a big or small way. I'm just trying to think. Recent clients, definitely that guy that I told you about before with the sinus issues. Just because I get constant emails from him about, pretty much every second week about his PBs in the gym and what he's doing. So that's really cool. I just recently had a client with fibromyalgia. So that's a condition where you have severe muscle pain and joint pain, and it interferes with sleep. And she's really into high intensity training and boxing, not CrossFit, but like personal training. And it was really impacting her doing what she loved. So she was eating probably more of a highly refined carbohydrate diet, but and fair enough, because it's what was recommended for so long, but it was more like your corn thins and rice cakes and toast. And so we switched to much more an anti-inflammatory diet, so very high in omega-3s and lots of, non-starchy veg and lots of good fats. And when she came back to see me, her pain had completely gone away. Wow. So that was really cool. So yeah, just things like that, just every day is really, really rewarding for me. No matter how big or small the change is, someone might just, come to me and say, I just feel I have so much more energy, and it might just be as simple as that. But so it's just all those little things as well.
Cool.
What about for you specifically? Like, do you have like one little thing that you implemented into your diet, or maybe like a lifestyle thing? Let's make it a bit more general. And it just was the best thing you've ever done, sort of thing.
I think when I discovered how good fats were, because I would say my diet is pretty high fat compared to most other diets, and just the satiety that it gives you as well. Like, it just makes such a huge difference. Like, I can go, 6 or 7 hours and not even worry about food. And I think that increasing the fats or the healthy fats in my diet really changed the way I felt and my energy levels, how I looked, but definitely the satiety and just not having that focus around food all the time. I have to eat every 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Pain in the ass, isn't it?
Yeah. Exactly. You save so much more time. So, and it all also just like on flights, like I'll get on a flight to Bali and just be able to not eat the whole time and then just like smash a nasi goreng when I get there. Like, it's really convenient not to have to worry about eating plain food and, all that sort of stuff. So
100%.
So I've got to figure all that stuff out because I must be a habitual thing, but I just hammer plain food. And I just hammer like,
well,
I've got to
free,
sort it
right?
out.
I try and get 2 meals in.
You get 2 meals
sitting next to a dude.
Same.
Sitting next to a dude once, and we got our meals and we finished them. And then he put his meal down and he looks at the flight attendant. He's like, "Excuse me." He says, "Yes, sir." He goes, "Can I get another meal?"
Yeah.
And she goes, "Yes, of course, sir." I looked over at him and went, "What the fuck is happening?"
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
And it depends on what airplane, but I try and just load up.
Airplane.
What?
Depends on what airplane.
Fucking what am I supposed to say?
I don't know. It just made me laugh.
Flight carrier.
Yeah. Car hole.
Sorry, mate.
There was just no emphasis on the R there. It just was bizarre. Airplane.
Yeah.
so you can do that.
Anyway, yeah.
There you
So
go.
it's not the best food, but
It's not too bad though, is it, Shirley?
It's pretty bad. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Shit.
loaded with just so much preservative and salt, and I just feel so much better particularly on the long haul flights. Like, I just don't have jet lag or anything if I just eat nothing or my own food.
Yep.
Just bring my own food, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
And then you're allowed to do that?
Yeah. So if I fly to Europe, last year I had to go to Denmark for work, and I just make like a quinoa salad with like roast veggies and kale and stuff that doesn't go soggy. And just take like, protein balls, fruit, nuts, and that will get me through. Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty, guys, just a quick word from our sponsors. Actually, a quick word from me, but I'm going to tell to you about our sponsors. So True Pride are a wealth creation service who work with ambitious individuals and families looking to take control, worry less, and get ahead. If you're looking for a way to take control, worry less, and get ahead when it comes to your money, True Pride is a wealth coaching business that will genuinely provide you with the tools you need to fast track this. So I've been doing it, and I know it kind of sounds like I'm always saying the same thing and they're really helping me, and I'm saving money and all this sort of stuff, but I actually am. I honestly am saving money, guys, and I've got savings starting to bank up in the old account, which I'm actually really pumped about. So, I was a little bit nervous initially because I was like, I'm going to jump into this thing and I could really just spend time doing it myself. But it really does work. So if you want to honestly start budgeting correctly, guys, and you want to start saving, which we all need to do, head to www.truepride.com.au/ADVF and you will get $297 waived when you book or call via their website. Next one along, guys, is Carve. So Carve is a company that specializes in anything digital, from building apps, designing a logo, automating your business, down to setting up your next event. Carve is the partner to be when you want to have more time to focus on the things you love and scale your business down. Getting rid of all the shitty stuff that you really don't want to do but has to be done anyway. Offset that overseas. It will get done. It is nice and cheap, and they still get paid very well over there. Get 10 hours free on any project by heading to www.carve.ph/ADVF. Finally, guys, here's the show. So
Yeah,
there's
I
no
take
quarantine issues there
I
with
take,
that?
I
'Cause
take.
you're just eating
No,
on the plane,
if you
I
eat
guess.
it on the plane, you can't obviously take it off the plane,
yeah.
but not getting through. Like I look a bit weird, like with
Yeah.
heaps of food in my bag. But
a garden patch in your backpack.
yeah, yeah. But apart from that, no, it's fine to take onto the plane. Just can't take it off.
Yeah, okay, cool. I've got to start doing that.
Yeah.
I won't.
Yeah.
I take when I go to Bali. Sometimes can't really be bothered anymore. But when I was like training heaps and taking it real seriously, I'd take tuna and sardines and stuff in my bag.
And just hammer them on the plane.
Nah, just on the trip.
Oh,
I'd
just
put it
over
in my
there.
check-in.
Yeah, that's
and you
good.
you get through sweet because whenever I'd be in Bali, I could never find like enough protein.
Yeah.
You know, if you go out to a restaurant, you could, but if I'm like snacking after a surf,
Yeah.
whatever, like there's always fruit and like I would always have nuts as well. So I have like a massive bag of macadamia nuts, put them through as banana chips, $9.99 a kilo. Thank you very much.
It's good. That's what I do with avocados. I put them through as red onions. It's like, Geez, this guy's eating a lot of onions. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I
Just a good-looking onion.
I taught Jill
That's so good.
how to take advantage of the self-serve checkout, and
Oh,
she
yeah.
literally now is a full-time thief.
Yep. It works well.
She's
Yeah.
like,
I've got to start doing this.
It works very well.
I'm too scared to go to the supermarket now. So I feel like I'm walking with fucking Billy the Kid or something.
Yeah. Well, I started questioning. Myself where I put like a kilo of salmon through as like an avocado. You can't do that. So, like, come on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. But cool. So
It's good.
Joe, what's next on the radar for you? Personally, as a business-wise, or anything coming up?
Yeah, I'm starting a group 2-week cleanse next week, which is really exciting. So just kind of like a little bit of a detox with a whole group of people. And really it's like, you know, the word detox has a bit of a stigma around it, but really it's just giving your body a break, take the pressure off your liver. So like getting rid of all those liver loaders like caffeine and alcohol and refined sugar, and taking a few not so great tasting herbs. They're not too bad, but just to help the liver and the detoxification system. So we're starting that on Monday, which is really exciting. But for people that are missing out on this one, I'm going to be running them throughout the year. Yeah, so that's really exciting. Personally, I'm getting married in 3 weeks, so I can't really see
Perfect time
beyond
for us.
that.
We're probably going to get a gig now, Tom.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's happy birthday.
We can do a live podcast from the thing.
And Mrs. Guy is currently walking down the aisle and is looking. Oh, there's a ring. There's a ring. And she said I do. She said I do. I just heard a song.
Yes. Can you please do that?
That's great.
yeah,
Where are you
so-
getting married?
Just in South Melbourne, actually.
Really?
At Luminaire.
Oh, okay. I don't know where that is.
Yeah, it's a rooftop, so it's like got a huge deck and it's got the whole city behind it.
Beautiful.
And yeah, it's
And you're
really,
marrying that Huey guy for some reason.
Yeah.
I've heard things about
Yeah.
it.
Real shame.
Yeah. I'll say him every now and then.
No, I love
No, he's,
Yeah.
love the
he's a
Huey.
Heath legend.
He's a leg end.
A leg on.
Genuine
He's
benign.
a hummus.
I'm never going to be able to say that word again.
Oh, very good.
Right, so I think we'll go to 6 from 6.
Yeah, I think so.
So, Joe, 3 questions from me, 3 questions from Tommy to finish us off. So, are you a well-travelled lady?
I would say so, yes.
Okay.
I love travel.
Cool.
Live to travel.
Cool. So my question is, what's your favourite destination on the planet? Place you've been? It can be big, small, can be a country, can be a small town, can be anywhere.
Okay. Well, we did a big trip to South America earlier this year, so that's pretty fresh in my mind, and that was absolutely incredible. So probably the highlight was we did a trek. We did the Salcantay trek, so climbed the glacier and then into Machu Picchu, and I wasn't really sure what to expect with Machu Picchu. I wasn't sure if it was going to be like just the cliche tourist thing, but it really was like one of the most magical, spiritual kind of experiences ever.
right?
Yeah, so that
That's
was really amazing. I think that would be.
Is Salcantay like the 9 or 10 day? How long is Salcantay trek?
That was 5 days.
5 days.
But it was pretty challenging because so you're climbing up a glacier. So our first night, I can't remember the altitude, but Huey did actually get altitude sickness and it was like -10. So it was, he went too hard, too early. So you're in -10 conditions and then you get to the top and you come back down and then you're in the Amazon and you're like putting the DEET on and it's like 30 degrees and you're in jungle. So it's a pretty crazy experience.
Is that ice picks and crampons style like when you climb the glacier?
Nah, definitely not. It was tough though. It was really tough, but
cool.
Nah, not that full on.
No worries.
Tough for me.
Sounds epic. That's my favourite part of the world too, by a mile.
Is
South
it?
America. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
super cool.
And your dream destination, same thing, can be anywhere, can be big, small.
Dream destination. South America was such a big bucket list item, so I haven't really thought beyond that. But I've always wanted to go to Cuba and just drink mojitos and dance salsa. I don't know why.
Cool.
That's just always been in the back
Nothing
of my mind
wrong
to
with
do. Yeah.
For sure. All right, cool. So my last question is any books that you've read that you've recommended to people? They can be just a fun read or educational read or...
Yeah, that I recommend to people.
Or that you would recommend to our listeners in particular.
Okay. I always have The Power of Now beside my bed, and I haven't read the whole thing for a really long time, but sometimes I can just pick it up anywhere and just read a paragraph and it kind of just calms me. And so that's Eckhart Tolle. So that's just...
Trying to get him on the show, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've been in touch with his manager.
Oh, that would be so good.
Yeah. What do you think of all the stuff he talks about with the religious symbolism, like Jesus and the Bible? And
You trying to prove me wrong here, Tommy?
yeah, I am. I'm literally, that is exactly what I'm thinking.
I can't even remember that part, to be honest.
Yeah, he talks about all of the stuff like Jesus talking about all the parables and all that sort of stuff, and how it really was just him symbolizing what it's like to be in the present moment.
Be in the present, yeah.
You know how, for example, the one that I always say to people that haven't read the book is the kingdom of heaven is all around you. And fundamentalist Christians will take it as, if we're really good, then we go to heaven when we die, and it's a place up there where you get to, get with 40 virgins. Oh no, that's another. That's
wrong religion, bro.
Yeah, that's Muslim. Sorry, that could have been offensive there. Hamas. No, but it's something like that, as opposed to the kingdom of heaven is around you. If you're just not worrying about the future and you're not sad about the past, you're just in this eternal happiness.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of truth in that.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. No, I can't remember that part of it. But the main thing that goes over in my head just from day-to-day life is, when you get really caught up in thoughts and you're just like, repeating the same thing over and over. It does state in one section that 80 to 90% of our thoughts are just useless. And really our brains should just be used for tasks. And when the task is over, then, you should just try and have a quiet mind and just focus on whatever you're doing. So when I get really caught up in just like silly things, you're just like going over something that, your friend said 3 days ago, or you're worrying about something in the future. I'm like, it's all just useless thoughts. And that's just something that kind of really resonated with me.
It's a good book.
Yeah, it's really good. I really love reading. I read every night, so I'm a pretty big reader. One of the books I'm reading at the moment is called Talk Like TED, and it's all about how to give the best presentation. So it's amazing. It's not just for people that, stand up and give big presentations. Like a lot of people give a presentation just in meetings or whatever it might be, but it's really cool. So it goes through all the elements that make a fantastic presentation, and it has the links of some of the best TED Talks. So and then you go and like watch the cool TED Talks, and so it's a really good one as well.
I had that one in my Audible. Is that an actual TED book? Is it produced by TED?
No.
Not the guy.
Is
not
Ted
like
a bloke? Oh, right.
Not the guy that started it. No.
There's a book that was it might not be the same one, but it was about how to give TED Talks, and I had it in my Audible. I wanted to check it out.
I think there are a few actually.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. There's so many books. I could go on forever. But one I do recommend to people to read is Thrive by Arianna Huffington. I don't know if you've read that one, but she talks about the meaning of success. And to most people, success is money and power. And she had both of those things with such a successful business, the Huffington Post. But she ended up collapsing, was in hospital, and she wasn't happy. And she's like, there has to be more to success than just money and power. So she came up with this third metric. And there's 4 aspects to this third metric, and it's well-being, wisdom, wonder, and giving. And so she goes through those different aspects. And so it's really good coming from such a high-powered woman to talk about wellness and the importance of sleep and meditation and giving and just having finding that wonder in the world. Like, you know, we kind of lose that. Children have it, but as we get older, we lose that wonder. And so that's a really fantastic one in terms of health, I guess.
That's cool. All right. What do you like to do in your downtime when you're not? I understand you're very busy, but when you have some spare time, what do you like to do?
I generally like to move. So just do my movement stuff. And not necessarily going to the gym and doing a full workout, but it could just be getting outside, going into the park, practicing handstands.
Good.
Yes. slowly getting there. Taking my dog for a walk. I also just love the cafe culture of Melbourne. So going out for a Sunday brekkie with my coconut latte and with Huey and the dog and friends and just reading the paper and I really
just chilling out.
That.
Because you do Ido Portal at the gym, don't you? Is that what you do? The movement stuff?
Yes. So I did 2 of his seminars and that kind of started me on the movement journey, I guess. It's so corny to say that. But I have a movement teacher, I guess. His name's Jules Burgermeister. Jules, yeah.
I did some stuff with Jules.
Yeah, very, very knowledgeable. So I work with him and he does all my programming.
Oh, cool. Okay. Now, second question is biggest role model growing up or current inspiration if you didn't really have a big role model.
Okay. Growing up, and I guess so many people would say this, but probably my mum and dad, and still now because they were super hardworking. Both my parents are pharmacists. They actually owned their own pharmacy for like 30 years, so I had a small business. But now they're just, they're still in such a great relationship. They have so many friends. I think they've got more of a social life than me. So I just really look up to them in that way. In terms of like more of a work role model, she's a nutritional biochemist and her name's Dr. Libby Weaver.
Yep.
She's more into women's health, but she's just my absolute inspiration. She's very, very knowledgeable. She did nutrition and dietetics, but she then went to study for another 10 years. And she gives some really fantastic seminars and she's written a lot of great books. And, I really look up to her. She's amazing.
Okay, and then final question is if you could invite 3 people dead or alive to dinner, who would they be and why would they be there?
This is a hard one.
It is very tough.
Yeah.
I always stump people on this one.
Really? Yeah, I think because you get a bit overwhelmed because there's just so many amazing people that you could ask. Firstly, I'd probably have the Dalai Lama because I just absolutely love him. He's just hilarious. I can just sit and watch YouTube clips of him talking and it doesn't even matter what he's saying. He's just so cute with what he says. So
I have to go to the bathroom. Dalai.
How could you not feel good about sitting around a table having dinner with Dalai Lama? Secondly, I've been reading Tony Robbins lately, so I think he would be pretty cool. I'm not into like the
He's
whole...
going to take up 2 seats probably. You're going to have to lay him down sideways and prop his head on the table.
Yeah, that's it. Not massively into the whole like screaming and crying and all that stuff that he does at his seminars, but super intelligent, very intuitive person. Thirdly...
He's a billionaire, isn't he? Yeah, that's cool.
What the hell? That's a strange question.
And
pretty rich, though,
He's got money.
He's definitely got a lot of money.
That's cool.
Probably Ido Portal. Maybe he could help me with my press handstand just on the dining table.
That's good. Have some food, have some perfect ketones.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
You might be able to press handstand walk across a fire. Across some hot coals. While the Dalai Lama makes you laugh.
Yeah.
The Dalai Lama does.
Very good. All right. Well, where can people find you, Joe? Social medias, anything you would like to PLUG plug?
Okay.
And not in the hummus.
Yes. The hummus.
That's such a good sound effect too.
Oh my God. My mouth is so full of laughing. So my website is just joeguy.com.au.
Yep.
Instagram is joeguy_dietitian. And that's probably the main things that I use.
Yep.
Yeah, where people can find
Any
me.
more spots available for your cleanse coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. So it starts on Monday, but I'll be doing another one in about 3 months. So
Cool.
yeah.
Okay.
I'll launch that then.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Awesome. That was fun.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for coming on the show, Joe.
Thanks so much for having me.
No worries.
Pleasure.
And that's a wrap. Alrighty. Thanks for listening, guys. That was part 2 with Joe Guy. I hope you enjoyed it. We had a raucous, awesome time having a chat with Joe. If you are a first-time listener, please go and subscribe. If you are a regular listener, send us a rating and review. And if you are a regular listener who's sent us a rating and review, you are the best. We love you so much.
Yeah.
We love you. We actually really do. Really do love you.
How can you getting on this?
That sounded creepy.
sounded a
Anyway,
little bit creepy, yeah.
if you want any resources from the show, guys, head to www.adventurewithtravel.com/podcast. All of our show notes are in there. And don't forget our sponsors, True Pride. Head to www.truepride.com.au. Book a call with the guys. See what they can do for you if you decide to go ahead. You'll get your $297 joining fee waived. Also, head to Carve. www.carve.ph/ADVF. Get 10 free hours on any project that you have. It can work for anyone's business. $6 US, $8 Australian pretty much per hour. Upscale your business, get more time back in your life. And Adventure Fit Travel. Make sure if you're booking onto any of our trips, use the code RADIO to get 10% off.
Have you guessed what that was?
It was Need for Speed.
Yeah. Nice.
See you next week.
Discovery Roger, go for deploy.